excellent and a practical question as well, sir. So as an architect, when we are given to design a hospital, so definitely there are some parameters. Every hospital is not same. So the specialty, multi-specialty, number of beds, everything. So everything varies. Every hospital is like a different problem. So to answer the sir's question to precise, we take hold of all the requirements first. Definitely keeping every aspect of hospital planning, which is itself is critical at its form, in terms of the functioning, in terms of flow of services, flow of patients, even the movement of the doctors, not coinciding with the patients, separate service corridors, all these parameters are itself critical in themselves. And then we basically try to integrate the life and fire safety services first in that, which are primarily governed by the number and the width of the staircases given, where these staircases have to be planned and how they are contributing to the day-to-day function of the hospital. So the staircases is one part, then the fire refuge areas or the holding zones, that has to be provided strategically on near, primarily to the high dependency zones. We should not be ignorant enough just to fulfill the norms and to take care of all these things at the first time. And when we are done with the compartmentalization, what we are hearing since morning, so what is compartmentalization? It is basically the steps taken to contain the fire in a specific zone and not let it spread all over the hospital or any other floors, so as to say. So when we have contained the fire in a particular zone, how the MEP services come and function? See what happens when the fire is there. When fire is there, the first step is fire detection. Fire alarm systems should be there, and the fire communication about the emergency should be there. And then the fire suppression system should be there. And then when the fire is suppressed, very critical point what has been highlighted by other panelists also, that the smoke evacuation plan should be there and to be checked regularly, given the hospital building. And when we are evacuating the smoke also, there is another parameter which is very particular to the hospital buildings, is the supply of fresh air. When we are evacuating the smoke, we have to supply the fresh air also at the floor level. These are the MEP services what we are taking care, and having said that, we also have to evacuate the patients or the occupiers. I'm not saying just the patient, 4 types of people are using the hospital: the doctors, the staff, the patients and the attendants. So all these people need evacuation on the primary front. There are clauses in the NBCs which are well defined up to a limit, but I would say there are many grey areas also which we are facing challenges in the day-to-day basis. For example, just to cite an example, it is basically the patients, critical patients, not to be housed above 30 meters and to be housed till 30 meters. But other types of patients can be housed above 30 but below 45. So the definition of critical patient, who defines that? Every patient who is not capable of self-preservation is a critical. This is the definition. But who ensures that? One thing. And the other flaw what we generally see, in case of many fires incidents, is what we have seen all around. What is the major cause? Evacuation, smoke. Smoke is one thing what we have already talked about. But how to evacuate the people? To evacuate the people, ramp, sadly, is still not a mandate in fire. Evacuating the patients on the stretchers is actually a very critical thing. And when we are talking about the critical patients below 30 meters, how these people are coming down along with the stretchers. So this is our responsibility to make sure, even if it is not a norm, then our concise should tell us. In the morning, Jha sir told us very clearly that we should take onus of the facility we are designing in the long run also. So if I have designed a hospital, I should be responsible enough to make sure that it is functional in the long run. Not that my part is over. So if I should pursue or if I should encourage the client to provide the ramp, and that is something which clears 50% of your problems. Because if not the staff members, then the attendants can also evacuate, or whosoever is available can evacuate the critical patients on the stretcher. So providing the horizontal refuge areas, dedicated refuge areas at the strategic locations, like I'm saying, near to the holding areas, whatever we are saying, on the outer periphery and near to the high dependency zone is another critical factor. So these are the parameters which we take here. So the flow, to summarize the first question, is that we definitely take care of the client's requirement first, because every hospital is typical in itself. Then we integrate the fire and safety services, and then hand in hand goes the MEP services integration with that.
Do you find any rationale in this norm that above 30 meter the critical patients should not be admitted?
So if you ask me frankly, in my personal opinion, nobody evacuates the patient even from the first floor. If the concise is not there, if the facility is not there.
And what is your take on evacuation elevators?
Evacuation elevators and evacuation ramps, I strongly advocate.
See, ramps take a lot of space.
So then also it is...
And then the developer of the hospital, promoter of the hospital perhaps would like to waste that much of area if the plot size is small. So that requires drastic change in the municipal norms, that on a smaller plot, hospitals of that particular height should not be allowed. But unfortunately, in cities also where the line is at premium, those things are happening. We are seeing hospitals coming up, very high-rise hospitals coming up on smaller plots, where even there is no parking space is left for the ambulances, for the evacuation. And only and the plots have got a very small frontage.
Right, sir. So, yes, you're right. I mean, evacuation lifts along with the patient stretcher, that should be promoted. And these should be fully equipped in terms of fire safety and clearly demarcated only for the use of the fire and to be checked regularly.
Dr. Bhagat,